Well, welcome to Four Critical Steps to Realizing Your Potential. I'm Chris McClure, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. I'm so thankful that you have taken the time to watch this training because I really believe that it truly does have the potential to help you realize your potential. So many people in our world are really struggling with living their dream or living out their calling in their life, and I think a lot of it just comes because we don't take the time to really think about what is required in order to achieve the potential that we have. So many of us don't even understand the potential that we have. And so we struggle and we feel like there's something not right, but we're not sure what it is. And I know for me, just to share a little bit about my story, when I was 16, I think back to this moment. I just turned 40 years old last week. But when I was 16 years old, uh, I was lost. I just didn't have a clue what to do with my life. I had friends who were preparing to go off to college. This was right before my senior year of high school. They knew what they were going to go do. They knew what school they were going to, what their focus was going to be, what their major was going to be. And I found myself just really struggling going, what am I going to do with my life? And so thankfully, my youth pastor invited me to go on a 2.5 week trip to a country in South America that I'd never heard of. It was Guyana, South America. And all I heard was 2.5 weeks away from home. And it was a time that I felt like, maybe just getting away would be it would be helpful to me, just to get away from the norm, get away from the noise, get away from the frustrations. And I honestly went with no great motivation other than that. And yet during that time, the investment of my youth pastor and just really casting a vision for my life as well as the life of our team members back home really struck me. And at that time, what it really meant for me was that I was going to go off to college and become a youth pastor, because what he had done for me, I thought, I can do this for other people. And all I knew at that time was to work with teenagers because I was one myself. And I thought maybe I could just influence those who were just a little bit behind me. And so for 12 years, I did that. I was a youth pastor full time. But then something strange started to happen to me. I started to feel that discontent again. And it came around the time that my wife and I had our first child. We had a little boy. And I remember taking summer trips with our youth groups, and we were doing youth mission trips, that I was leading now. We were doing a lot of summer camps. We were doing a lot of activities. And I just found myself really thinking, you know what? This being away from home, being away from my family isn't really what I feel like I want to be about. So I started to feel this discontentment again. And so I did shift roles in the church that I was working at. I had the opportunity to make some adjustments, and that helped me for a little while. Then I had a new opportunity to move closer to home. At that time, we were living in Atlanta, and we were from the greater Cincinnati area, Northern Kentucky. And so we had an opportunity to come about an hour away from home, from where our parents are. And it was great because by that time we had 3 kids, and they were starting to miss the grandparents more and the cousins more. Every time we traveled and saw them, it was hard to leave. And so we had an opportunity to move, and we did. So I had another step and an opportunity to step into a new role. And so I did that. And for the first couple of years, it felt great. I was being challenged. I thought it was awesome. There was so much that I was learning and growing in. But then again, I found myself frustrated. I found myself just discontent. And I started to think, is there something just wrong with me? Can I not just be happy with what I'm doing? Because I found myself at 35 years old, kind of reaching the peak of where I felt like I would want to work and serve in the ministry environment that I had been working in as a career. And so I tell you all this because what I realized at this time was that, being frustrated and kind of feeling like you're hitting that ceiling, it doesn't just happen one time in your life. It can happen over and over again, especially as you're growing. And so tonight, what I want to share with you in these 4 critical steps to realizing your potential is that as you're growing, be ready for that discontentment to come, and be ready to take steps forward to do something different about it. I just want to give you a little bit of background on who I am if you don't know me. I'm a husband and a father. As I mentioned, I've been a pastor for 20 years. But I became a coach and leadership trainer with the John Maxwell team 2 years ago in 2015. And that was one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life. And it also was one of the most challenging decisions because it required a lot of investment of time and money that I needed to put into it. But even more, after I joined the team and started to be trained to be a more intentional and better coach and trainer, I'd been a student of leadership and of John Maxwell's for 20 years. But what I realized was all of a sudden the world kind of opened up to me. There were all these opportunities. There were all these things that I could do with my life. And so I found myself realizing that it was time for me to take yet another big step and enter the business community by starting my own business. Excuse me. But the problem was is that I had no clue what that meant. I love to network. I love to be around people. I wanted to be of help and service into the community. I really felt called to the business community to help because I'd heard so much frustration among people that I was friends with that were just talking about the poor leadership in their organizations. And so I knew that I was heading in the right direction on one hand, but it was such a foreign territory. So starting a business was something I never thought about, never dreamed about. It was never on my radar. And yet here I was in the middle of that. And so it was a major growth moment for me. And I either had to step into that or really step away from it and wonder what it would have been like. And so for the last 2 years, I've been doing the hard work of building a business and learning what does it mean to build a business. So I've become a breakthrough coach because here's the thing. I've had to break through many obstacles, many barriers for myself in the last 2 years that I never thought I would ever face. You know, what I realized in my career as a pastor was things really came easy to me a lot of times. And so I just kept growing and I kept doing what knew what to do. But when I entered a foreign territory of the business community and just building a business, it really took a whole lot out of me that I just never had thought about. And so I've had to learn how to break through barrier after barrier after barrier. And so as I've kind of formed and thought about who am I in the business world, who am I as a business owner and a coach, it really came obvious even just in the last few months that I am a breakthrough coach because I help individuals, teams, organizations break through barriers that are holding them back and helping them to reach their potential. And that's a huge monumental task for a lot of people to get through those barriers in their lives. And so I have the privilege to come alongside people and really help them figure out what is it that they want to do with their life, what do they want to do with their business, what do they want to do with their ministry, and how can I help them get to that next level by breaking through the current level they're in. And so that's my passion. I'm a leadership trainer as part of that because leadership is so important to just how we operate in our communities and our families and in the workplace. And so my passion has been leadership for 20 plus years now. I've just read so many books and I've gone to so many conferences and I just can't get enough of leadership development personally because I've wanted to grow as a leader. But what I realized after a while was, you know what? I now have so much more to give back. You know, there's so many things I've learned over the years that other people can learn from. So just like I said, I joined the John Maxwell team in 2015. And then just in 2017, early this year, I joined the Igniting Souls team. And that team is all about helping people understand their identity. So it's kind of a faith-based identity process that I help people walk through, but also their purpose and then also their direction as far as career and calling. And so at the end of this, actually, I'm going to be sharing with you an opportunity to deal with that purpose piece, getting clear on purpose. And that's really what I want to help you think about tonight, to these 4 critical steps to realizing your potential and reaching that is it really comes to be about purpose. And what are you here on this earth for? So I started my business in July of 2015. I named it Lead Life Big. It was something that I woke up with a vision for. And the reason that it's named what it is because leadership is so important, but it's about the intentional leadership of myself and yourself. You know, we need to lead our lives, not just accept our lives. And so Lead Life and then Big actually stands for be intentionally great. Les Brown says that you have greatness within you. He's such a great speaker and a great motivator. And as I've read his books and I've listened to him speak, you know, he's so passionate about helping people understand that we each have greatness within us. And I truly believe that. But I think that we have to be intentional with that. If we're going to not only understand that we have that greatness, but we need to live it out, then we need to be intentional. We need to lead our lives. We can't just get there haphazardly and accidentally. And then I also now co-founded another coaching and training business with my friend Mark Williams, who is also a John Maxwell team member. But he and I met through the Maxwell team. We started talking about what our passions were, what each of us are trying to accomplish in our business. And we realized that we had so many things in common that we decided to partner together for growing Maximize Leaders, because we want to help churches and organizations really help their people understand that they have so much to offer, but that they've got to break through these barriers in their lives and in their workplaces. So that's about just a snapshot of who I am. But this tonight is not about me; it's about you. What I'm doing right now for this training is about you, because I want you to reach your potential. I'm on this journey. I may be several steps farther down the path than you. I might be right alongside of you. For some folks, I might be behind you because you've been down this path for even longer and you're just continuing to grow. But if you're a leader, then you need to be a learner, and learners are always open to new ideas and even being reminded of maybe some old ideas that we've had. And so I always take every opportunity that when I'm on a training like this, that there's always something that I can take away. And so I want to encourage you tonight, as you're watching this, to think about that. What is it that you can take away that you can implement in your life? So I just want to get right to this. Honestly, I don't want to take a lot of your time. I just want to work through this material because I'm so excited, and I really believe it's so valuable. It's something that's really helped me this process, and I want to share that with you tonight. And and this whole thing came from the idea, that's kind of what I said when I was 16, and then later on in my early 30s and then my mid 30s was, does something feel off in your life? Do you feel like there's this discontentment and you're wondering, like, what's wrong with me? I mean, maybe things even seem to be going well. Your family's healthy, your job is good. Things are pretty good in your neighborhood or your community. And yet you feel like there's just something off. Maybe you just feel like, what am I missing here? And so if that's you right now, this training is for you. But maybe you're thinking that maybe you're not truly satisfied with your life or your career. Maybe you're at a place where you're saying, you know what, there has to be more. I want a better relationship with my spouse, or I want a better relationship with my kids, or I want to have a marriage, or I want to have kids, or I want to have a better job. I want to have a better workplace environment. Whatever it is, if you're not truly satisfied with where you are, then this training is definitely for you as well. And then that's the question. Do you feel like you're living to your fullest potential? Maybe you're in a great situation with your life and your career, but you realize, you know what, there's more to me. There's something else that I can contribute to my community, to my family, to my business. Maybe you just feel like there's more inside of you. And I'll be real honest, I believe that there is. But here's a danger. When you realize that there's more, there's also like this discontent that rises up because it's hard to be satisfied. You don't want to be satisfied because you're like, there's so much more that I could be offering to people. And so, so there's kind of a danger as you get clear on your life that now you all of a sudden settling for something less is really frustrating to you. And so do you feel like you're living to your fullest potential? So if any of those questions are jumping out at you, then you're in the right place right now. And I've developed this training just for you because I've been here. I'm not teaching this because somebody else has been there. I'm teaching this because I've been there, and I found a great process to help me get past a lot of this that I can repeat over and over when I feel those moments of discontent and angst. So this quote I want to share with you tonight to start off by LP Jacks is one that has truly hit me. And it says this: a master in the art of living draws no sharp distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his education and his recreation. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence through whatever he is doing and leaves others to determine whether he is working or playing. To himself, he always appears to be doing both. I think this is such a great quote. And my question to you is, can that describe your life? Can we insert your name instead of master in the art of living? If your name's John, could we say John draws no sharp distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure? Or Sally or Susie or Jennifer or Kim or Bob or whatever your name is. You put your name in that, first sentence, and does it describe you? Does it sound like this is your life? Because I'll be real honest, when I read this the first time, I thought, this is not me. I want it to be me. I want to be living this life where people wonder, is he working? Is he playing? And I'm going, you know what? It's all both, because I'm so satisfied. I'm so excited for what I'm doing that my work is play. And when I'm working, I don't feel like I'm just slugging through a job, but I'm truly living out my calling and my passion. So does that describe you? Because if it doesn't, then once again, you're in the right place watching this training. So let's get started here. The most damaging thing in the life of a child is the unlived life of the parent. Now, you may not be a parent. Maybe you're an aunt or an uncle. Maybe you're just a neighbor to some kids, but they're watching you as an adult. And Carl Jung here is saying that kids suffer when we are not living to our fullest. I'm telling you, this is a powerful thing. You see, whether we're parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, neighbors, friends, we have another generation following us at all times, and they're looking at us and they're saying, what is this whole thing life all about? And if we aren't living it to the fullest, if we aren't doing life in a way that is exciting and passionate, then we don't live our lives in a way that really makes their lives better. So we may not necessarily even feel responsible for all the kids around us, but think about society. What if people in our society don't live a life in a way that is passionate and fulfilling, and instead we kind of just go through each day with drudgery. We kind of come home and, the proverbial, you kick the dog because you're upset at work, or you bring your work junk home, and, you're just kind of, you're not a fun person to be around. The younger generation suffer. And I know, as a dad, as an uncle, as a neighbor, as a friend of many kids, I don't want them to suffer because of me. I want them to be excited. I want them to see the potential that they have in their lives because they're watching me live out my potential. My greatest prayer for my kids is that as I push through and as I break through the barriers that I face, that they see me willing to try and fail, that they're going to have the courage someday to try and fail. That instead of just settling for what society tells them what they ought to do, that they're seeing their dad and they're seeing their mom actually living out our calling, our dream, our purpose, because we've had the courage to do so. So I want to encourage you during this training to really think about that your choices of settling or going after your greatest potential really do have ramifications with those around you. So let's not forget that. This is great. When we decide not to decide, we're actually choosing to stay exactly where we are. If you see this picture and it reminds you of your life, where you feel like you're just stuck between maybe where you've been and where you want to go, it's time to make a decision. See, the word decide comes from a Latin word that actually means to cut off. So when you make a decision, you're actually cutting off other decisions, other options. So in this slide, it's really important for us to think about where we are today. Are you choosing to stay exactly where you are? Or are you willing to take steps forward progress? Because I really want to encourage you, as you're watching this train, to make a decision. Because when you decide to stay where you are, then you're deciding to deal with the ramifications of that. And when you decide to move forward, you're willing to deal with the growing pains that comes with that. But you need to think about it. At the end of your life, do you want to be looking back with the pain of regret? Or do you want to say, you know what, I gave it my all. I tried. I went for it. Because I know for me, at the end of my life, I don't want to live with a bunch of regrets, wondering what could have been. I want to actually say, you know what, even if I swung and struck out a lot, that I felt like I was giving it my all, that I was doing exactly what I needed to try to be doing. because I know that I'm growing in the process. So don't choose not to decide tonight. Choose to make a decision to grow forward, to move in the direction of your dreams, to move in the direction of your goals, the things that are kind of at the, they're at the bottom of your heart, and you're wondering like, man, can I achieve that? Well, we don't know if we can until we try. So step one in this process is you need to develop a vision for your life. Now, you might have a vision for your life, but I'll tell you this, if you write that vision out, it is so impacting. If you share that vision with other people, you will actually start to inspire other people to think about their vision for their lives. Think about this, Martin Luther King Jr. in his famous I Have a Dream speech. He spoke that in front of thousands of people in Washington, D.C., and he inspired a movement. It was his dream, but it was also their dream. And he made their dream clear because they wanted to be free from all the racism and all the tension that they were feeling and all the junk that they were dealing with. They wanted a better life in their nation. But he verbalized this vision. He verbalized this dream that inspired hundreds of thousands, ultimately millions of people in the civil rights movement to move. He didn't say, I have a plan. He didn't get down to the nitty-gritty details, because plans are needed to accomplish a vision, but plans don't inspire. He was inspiring. He was casting a vision. And so for us to get started, to realize and reach our potential, we need to start with a vision, because your vision for your life will inspire you to come up with a plan. It'll inspire you to figure out the details. So step one, you need to develop a vision for your life. Once again, what is your dream? If somebody said to you today, what is your dream? Could you verbalize that? It was very interesting. A few months ago, I was doing a training for about 5 weeks with a few folks. And the first assignment that I had them do was write out their I Have a Dream speech. And when they came back the second training night and they read them to us, I mean, literally, I was floored. I was blown away. It was so exciting, because these were people that I knew, but I didn't really know, because I didn't know what was buried inside their heart. But when they started to speak them out and read them out, they were kind of nervous about it, because they were going public, even with a small group of people, with what they really had a dream for. And so it was intimidating to them. It was kind of scary for them. But you know what I've seen in the months since? I've seen lots of progress in their growth, because they're moving towards that vision. Some of them are making small steps. One gentleman, he's making many big steps, and he's actually decided he's cut off several other ventures he was involved in order to go after the one thing that he was really passionate about in that speech. It's been exciting. So they had to figure out what is their vision for their life. And when they did that, it starts to motivate you to move forward. And for these folks, I'm seeing that happen, and it's exciting. And as a coach, that's what I want to see. I want to see clients. I want to see the people I get the privilege of working with to take steps to move toward their dream, to move towards their goals. Because when you have that vision, you are motivated. But step two is that you need to clarify your purpose. So you might have this big dream, this big vision, but you need to clarify your purpose, because I'm just a firm believer that each of us are on this earth for a reason. I'm a firm believer that God has created us with a purpose. And I don't know where your faith background is. I don't know where you come from in that, but here's the thing. I see people all the time that are searching for true meaning in their life. And I really believe it's that at the core of our being, we understand that there is a purpose that we are here for. We're not an accident. Your gifts, your abilities, your passions are there for a purpose. The same is true for me. If I don't live out my purpose, then I'm actually robbing the world of something that is needed, because I was created to fulfill that purpose, to live it out. I mean, think about all the inventions that we have today that we have the privilege of enjoying. What if the inventors didn't do what they need to do to live out their purpose? What if Edison decided, you know what, I have this vision for this light bulb thing, but I don't really want to live that out. You know, I mean, goodness gracious, let's just think about technology today. Like, what if Steve Jobs didn't push for the iPod and then the iPhone and all the computer technology and the iPad that Apple has created over the last few decades? I mean, think about how our lives would be so different. We enjoy a lot of technology. We enjoy being in touch with people in a way that honestly wouldn't have happened had he not and the inventors at Apple that work alongside him, if they wouldn't have created what they have, we wouldn't be enjoying what we do today. If Bill Gates would have had this idea about this computer thing, but I don't think I really want to pursue that. If he wasn't clear on his purpose and passionate about it, I mean, the personal computers that we are watching, these types of trainings on wouldn't exist. If Henry Ford would have said, I've got this vision for this thing that's not horses, it's actually a motorized car, but what if he wouldn't have done anything with that? I mean, think about all the things we're dependent on right now. And if those inventors would have not been clear on their purpose and taken a step to live it out, how we would be, in a whole different world today. And it doesn't mean that somebody else wouldn't have come along with something else, but the bottom line is we need to live into the purpose that we have, because we don't know that how our decisions will affect generations to come. It goes back to that whole idea that every decision we make affects the lives of the next generation behind us. So we need to have a vision for our life. We need to clarify our purpose. Step 3 is we need to develop strategies for success. Here's where it gets hard for some of us. If you're like me, you love the vision part. Okay, I'm excited about this vision. And you start to get clear on your purpose and you start to get excited. And then you realize, you know what, to achieve that, I've actually got to put a plan together. Now, for me, ironically, I'm an organized administrative guy, and I love to help make things get done. But sitting down to develop strategies can be very tedious for me. And so I have to really discipline myself to do something about that. But here's what I realize. If I don't put a plan together, then I can't really take meaningful, productive, intentional action that's going to get me from where I am to where I want to go. And so while this may take some effort and some time for you, I really want to encourage you to say, you know what, this means enough that I need to really block some time and write out the steps I need to take, some strategies for success to achieve my vision and my purpose. So that's an important one. And I can't guarantee for everybody it's going to be fun. Some people love this step because you love details. You love to map it out. You love to have spreadsheets or mind maps, and you love to just put the plan together. Maybe for you, you're good about the strategies, but maybe you struggle with the action to actually take those strategies and put them into play. So we need each other, because you can actually help somebody. If you love doing strategies, you can actually help somebody by sitting down with them and helping them map out those strategies. But what you may need is somebody to come alongside you and say, okay, you've got a plan now. What are you going to do? When are you going to take action? There's that accountability piece that you may need. So we have a vision, we're clear on our purpose, and we develop strategies for success. So step 4 is we need to measure our progress. We need to measure our progress. You see, Andy Stanley said this. He said, what gets measured gets done. So if you're not measuring something, you're not really as accountable to yourself and to the process as you need to be. He also said what gets rewarded gets repeated. So if you are taking action and you're seeing some wins, you're being rewarded with some progress and some wins, then you're going to repeat that action. You're going to take those next steps. You're going to go back to that strategy you developed, and you're going to say, okay, steps 1, 2, and 3 worked. So let's start number 4, because if I can do those and I can get some quick wins, then I can move into steps 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 and beyond. You see, we need to measure our progress. And once again, if you're not a detail-oriented person, this may feel a little tedious for you, but here's what I know. That when you have a strategy and you're measuring it, you're seeing what's working and what's not. What you don't want to do is not track your progress and then keep repeating the things that don't work and forgetting about the things that do. You know, this is a big problem for many of us. One of the things I've been personally working on with my friend Mark, with our one business, is saying, you know what, when we prepare for trainings, when we prepare to promote and market what we're getting ready to roll out, we need to make sure we have a checklist of all those items that we're doing, because when we have another resource, another training, another product out there in the future, we don't want to have to think about this again. Because when you do it the first time and you're tracking what you're doing and you're seeing what's working and you're measuring your progress, and you see what works, and you can say, okay, well, let's do that again. But you're seeing what doesn't work, and you say, well, let's not do that again. And you're marking that on your checklist, and you're tracking that progress. Then the next time is easier because you've already put all the work in. And so, you know, get clear on that and develop the vision, get clear on your purpose, put together a success strategy. And number 4 here, measure your progress. If you'll do these 4 steps, you're going to start to see yourself move in a direction that maybe you've never seen before. These are critical steps in order for you to realize and reach your potential. You see, each of these steps requires intentionality. They're not going to happen by accident. They're going to happen by you taking action. And what I don't want you to get hung up on is making sure that you have the perfect plan before you ever start. You see, some folks, that's a problem. Until we feel like we've got the perfect plan and we know exactly how it's going to work out, we end up freezing and we do nothing. That's not the best way to do it. What I've learned and what I've seen success in myself and in mentors and coaches I have is taking imperfect action, getting going. You might have heard the analogy that you can't steer a parked car. You've got to get the car rolling. You've got to start moving so that you can actually adjust and make course corrections along the way. So don't feel like you've got to have the perfect plan, that you need to have everything laid out in perfection. What you need to do is take step 1. Because when you take step 1, then step 2 will be more clear to you, and step 3 will be more clear to you, and step 4, all these things start to roll out as you take another step forward. Actually, right above me as I'm doing this recording, I have a piece of paper that I simply wrote, "Keep moving forward" on it. And it's been one of the most helpful signs that I've ever put in front of my eyes in my office, because so many times it's easy to get stuck in the mud thinking, what do I do next? What do I do next? Is this the right thing? Is that the right thing? But when you focus on keep moving forward, you just take action. And then if it's the right step, then it'll lead you to the next step. If it's the wrong step, then you start to evaluate and you say, okay, well, that didn't work. So what should I do next? So I want to encourage you, don't worry about taking perfect action. Actually, just take imperfect action and see where it leads you. So I told you at the beginning I was going to share with you about a program that I'm getting ready to launch, and it's called the Deeper Path Coaching Cohort. Now, the subtitle is 5 Steps that let your hurts lead to your healing. I don't want this to be a misnomer to you. This program is based on author Carey Overbrunner's book, The Deeper Path. And he shares in this book about his story of being so lost and frustrated with his life, and that he was actually a cutter. He was a self-injurer and hurt himself. But what he realized was through his hurts, it actually led to his healing, and as he got clear on his vision and his purpose for his life. And now he's coaching thousands of other people on doing the same. But here's what I've realized, because at first I was thinking, you know what, I don't really identify with that. I don't really feel like I've got all this baggage and some stuff in my background in my life that I've had all this pain. I know that many people do, and I feel bad for them, and in many ways I'm thankful I don't identify with that, because I haven't had to go through that. But what I realized was my hurts really were frustration. They were that feeling like I'm hitting that ceiling over and over again. And so when I realized that, just like when I was on that mission trip in Guyana, South America at 16 years old, when I realized that my frustrations could actually be an answer to how I help people, because as I was helped, I realized, okay, I can go out and help other people get serious about their lives and figure out what they need to do next. That was my hurt. That was my pain. See, our pain points look different. Some of it's a physical pain, some of it's an emotional pain, some of it's a relational pain, some of it's, the pain of having lost a loved one or lost a job, or we've gone through just painful things in our lives. And here's the amazing thing. The people that are often making the greatest impact in the world are those who have had to deal with painful things, and now they're helping others go through those very things today. A good friend of mine is a coach and an author, and her pain was being in an unhealthy workplace environment, and so her healing was realizing that she wanted to help workplaces become places of joy. She wanted to train business owners and managers how to create environments that the teams of employees love to work in. You see, her pain was frustration. Her pain was being in ugly workplace environments at times. And now she's written a book and she's coaching leaders on how to overcome that and create a better culture. So she's just one example, but I really believe that this course, this coaching program, will be phenomenal for you. So what do you get with this program? Well, first of all, we do 10 online group coaching sessions. Just like you're watching this recording online, we'll do live coaching sessions on Zoom where I will walk you through this process. And the process will start with you going through a video course by the author of The Deeper Path, Carrie Oberbrunner. Carrie has become a great mentor, a great coach to me, become a good friend who I really respect and trust, and he's helped me a lot in my own life and my own business. And he's helped me get past a lot of my hurts, my hang-ups of frustrations that I've dealt with, and the pain that I've felt of not feeling like I was going to achieve what I felt called to achieve. And so actually you're watching this training today because I took this course a year and a half ago, and it really spoke to me and helped me get past a lot of those barriers that I was struggling to break through with. And so we'll do 10 group coaching sessions where we'll process the material that Carrie has graciously laid out in a video course. And in that video course, you'll get a 48-page manual that equips you to author your opus. Your opus is actually a term that means masterpiece. There's another word for work that's basically talking about labor. That you're really laboring, you're really working hard. It's not a joy, but an opus is your masterpiece. It's a labor of love. It's what you love to do. It's your passion. And so the opus is actually an acronym to talk about just what we went through tonight on these 4 points. That first of all, you lay out your overarching vision. You make sure that that's written out and you're clear on that. Then you go into clarifying your purpose, and then you develop unifying strategies. That's putting that plan together. And then the S is for scorecard for significance. That's where you're measuring your progress, tracking what you're doing. And so as we go through this 10 session coaching program, you're going to walk away at the end with basically an incredible resource that you can review over and over again, where you can reread your vision. You can keep your purpose right in front of you. You can look at your strategies, and your scorecard is something that you'll develop on a month-by-month basis to measure your progress and to develop your next steps each month. So it's not just a one-time thing you go through. It's a process that you get clear on, and then you continually work this process over and over again. So a bonus as part of being in this coaching group is that you will get to join my private Facebook group where I interact with my clients live day to day. So if you have questions that come up, I'll interact with you right there. So we'll have weekly group coaching sessions where you're in a group of folks that are working through this process together. But if something comes up in the days between our training sessions, our coaching sessions, you can interact on the Facebook group, and I'll be right there to help you navigate what you're dealing with. So we are starting this on Sunday, September 24th at 8 p.m. We're going to do it from 8 to 9 or 9:30. It can be anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes each session, depending on the level of interaction and what we need to cover that night. And so we're going to start on September 24th. It'll be Sunday evenings from 8 to 9 or 9:30. I'm giving you a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee, because here's the deal. If you go through this process and in the first few sessions you're saying, you know what, this just isn't for me, it's not working, I want to to respect your time and your energy. So I'm willing to take the risk and say, you know what, if you don't find this to be valuable, then we can just step you out of the program. You can walk away, no harm done, no hard feelings, and I'll get you your money back, 100% money back guarantee. And I do that because I'm so confident, because of what I've experienced and what I've helped other people experience through this program, to realize how valuable this process is, that I'm betting on the fact that you want to stay in this program, that you want to be coached through this because it's so powerful. So how do you do this? Well, if you go to my website, leadlifebig.com/deeper path, leadlifebig.com/deeper path, you'll get a little bit more information in writing on this, basically just what I said. This is a hybrid coaching course with the video teaching from the author Carrie Overbrunner, as well as the live coaching that I offer. Really, this is really the best of both worlds. You're hearing right from the man who developed this material, and you're also being able to have interaction with one of his certified coaches to walk you through this. See, right now, you can't get a coaching session with Carrie. He's doing so many other things. He's so busy himself. He would love to coach people one-on-one and in groups like he used to, but now he's having to use his time differently, and because of him living out his opus, his masterpiece. And so therefore he invites folks like me to come alongside him and be a certified coach to help people like yourself to walk through this process so that you can live your life to the fullest as well. And so I have the privilege of being a part of that. I have the privilege of being a part of lives of folks like yourself and walk them through this process. So I don't want you to miss out. I don't want to keep rambling on about this, but check out leadlifebig.com/deeper path. It's $497 for the course. That's 10 coaching sessions for $497. Plus you get the lifetime access to this video course that you can review over and over again, which is a really great opportunity as well. And so I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll spread the word. I hope you'll share this video, because I want people to have the opportunity to understand that if they want to reach their potential, that this intentional action that they need to take is so incredibly important. And so I thank you for being on here with me for this training. I hope that you have just an incredible day or evening, whatever time of day it is you're watching this. And I look forward to hearing from you. Would love to check it out, have you check out the course and join me starting September 24th. Take care.